Hello, resilient champions. You are so welcome. Welcome in, everybody. I'm so blessed to have you. Thank you so much for coming. I am so happy. It's always a pleasure having everyone. You are so welcome. Thank you. We have, I hope I mentioned everybody, the mother and daughter duo, Boss Life Denise. We have Marilyn. We have Miss Jill, the mother and daughter duo, and all of you amazing people. There is my Quincy's design with Emma. Jaden is here. Hello, Jaden. How are you? Of course, we have family, both the bot files. I have TW Popcorn. What's popping, fam? I hope you're doing fine. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having all of you. And I am so delighted. Today we are back again to the live collaboration team where we've been listening since 5 p.m. EST to Live with Marlene. We just came from Boss Live Online. The boss herself, who is the coordinator and the owner of the channel, Team Build with Geo. Hi, be amazing. You're so welcome. Team Build with Geo is our collaborative channel, and we are so blessed to be family there. Hey, Quincy's, you are so welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and it's an honor to be part of this month-long collaboration, and we are talking about different topics, and I'm really delighted to talk about the power of self-love and self-forgiveness. So thank you, Marlene, for that reminder. Hey, Mike, you're welcome. So let's go straight. I have just less than 30 minutes. Let's go straight to the topic. So have you ever had that feeling of not being able to forgive yourself? You carry that guilt with you and you are so overwhelmed. It's really weighing on you and you don't really know how to forgive yourself. The bottom line is everyone makes mistakes. However, it is sometimes very challenging to learn from our errors, to let go, and to move on. And really, forgiveness is always it is defined as a deliberate decision to let go of feelings of anger, resentment, or retribution. So, like we say, it is a deliberate decision. So to forgive yourself, you have to be intentional. To forgive someone, you have to be intentional. So forgiveness is a deliberate action. And it's deliberate because you have decided that you no longer want this thing to weigh you down. You no longer want to carry this guilt away. And so you ask yourself, why is it so difficult for me to forgive myself? Because the act of forgiveness, whether you are forgiving yourself or someone who has wronged you, all of this does not suggest that you are condoning the behavior or that you are condoning the hurt or the thing that they did to you. It simply means that you are forgiving because you do not want to carry guilt, to have it permanently with you, because it is a very heavy burden to carry. Carrying guilt is a very heavy burden for you to carry, and it really weighs you down. It anchors you in the past and prevents you from moving forward. And that's why you have to take that decision to forgive yourself, because when you carry that guilt with you, it makes you scared to show up fully for yourself, and it stops you from opening up to opportunities. It is normal to feel guilty, and it is important to acknowledge it, but do not let it stay for too long. The weight is crushing. And so the antidote is self forgiveness, which is important for mental and your overall well being. So I would really like to talk about self forgiveness today, like a reminder, because all along, Boss Life talked a lot about self love, self forgiveness, and all of that. So we are just like constantly reminding ourselves of the necessity for these things to happen. And so when we are looking at forgiving our past mistakes and recognizing that whatever decisions we made at that time was guided by what we knew at that time. So when you put yourself in the position of, I really know that at this moment when I was doing this thing, I thought it was the best thing. And then you come finally and realize that that was not the best. And so you make that effort. You learn to look at your mistakes as occurrences and not like your behavior. It's not something that defines you, it's something that happens. It's something that happens, and it really can happen to anybody because, like we say, everyone makes mistakes. So, by giving ourselves the grace, kindness, and understanding to forgive ourselves, we put ourselves in a better place to move on, to move past our mistakes, and to which have, like most of the time, our mistakes make us be perceived as inadequate and thereby making us to like just feel like I am really like not good enough. So self forgiveness is a powerful tool for your personal growth and healing. While it is easier to forgive other people, like we always say, it's always easy for us to be compassionate with others, it becomes challenging now because it becomes challenging for us to forgive ourselves because we always judge ourselves so harshly. We are always like thinking that we have to be the best. And that's why sometimes it's difficult to forgive ourselves because we think that how could we really like do this thing? So today I'm sharing like 4 impactful action steps that we can take to help us practice self-forgiveness. And my first take is acknowledge your mistakes. For you to be able to forgive yourself, you have to acknowledge that there is something to be forgiven. So either you are acknowledging what you did wrong to someone, or you are acknowledging that someone did wrong to you. Whatever way, you have to start by acknowledging your mistakes. This is the first step towards self forgiveness. But to be honest, it is the most difficult step. It is always so challenging, but this is very necessary. And this is the first step because it helps you to take responsibility for your actions. And forgiving yourself is more than just putting the past behind you and moving on. It is more about accepting what has happened and showing yourself self compassion. Joe talked a lot about self compassion. It is really important because you have to face yourself. You have to face yourself first and really accept it and take it in and then make that decision to say, okay, I am going to let go of this guilt. I recognize that when I made this mistake, I was in the position of thinking that that was the best at that time, but now I know better. And so I want to forgive myself and I want to move on. I want to be move on with a lighter baggage. So if you have been making excuses or rationalizing or justifying your actions in order to make them seem acceptable, I will tell you that it is time to face up and accept what you have done that is making you guilty. Accept it, acknowledge it. And once you accept it and you acknowledge it, you feel less guilty. Because when you keep being guilty, like I say, it's such a heavy burden for you to carry. So when you acknowledge your mistakes, so instead of saying, I am guilty, you tell yourself, I feel guilty. And when by saying I feel guilty, you are clarifying that this guilt is not a permanent part of who you are, but it is just a passing temporary feeling that will fade away. So you are acknowledging your mistakes and you are accepting to take informed action and really forgive yourself. And so tell yourself, I really feel guilty, because you're talking to yourself, but it is just a temporal feeling that will fade away. So practice to tell yourself, I am sorry. Say it to yourself or to the person that you may have hurt or to whoever might have been impacted, because this is a very important part of forgiveness. And that is where the healing starts, when you are able to say, I am sorry. And when you say it, you are meaning it, because when you are sorry, you are not forgiving or asking for forgiveness because of the person. You are liberating yourself. And that's why they say when you forgive people, that is where healing starts. When you forgive people, you are removing that burden from you. You are not carrying them along with you again. You don't have space to carry extra people, anyways. So you are removing the guilt, or you are removing that hurt, you are removing that pain, you are forgiving that person and also forgiving yourself, so that you can be healed and so that you can give yourself permission to move on with a lighter or more positive attributes than carrying something that no longer serves you or something that you can no longer change. So my second action step is to practice self-compassion. We have always heard about it. That's something that we do all the time, which is so challenging because most often we easily give compassion to others, but treat yourself with the kindness and compassion just as you would treat a friend who made a mistake. Like I always say, be your best friend. Treat yourself as you would treat your best friend. So understand that everyone is flawed and makes mistakes, and that is a part of being human. Absolutely, boss. It's human. For instance, if you missed a deadline at work, instead of berating yourself or showing like you say, oh no, I'm so terrible, I can't. No, give yourself that grace, give yourself that understanding. Because if your colleague came and told you, oh, I missed out on a deadline, you say, oh no, it's okay, you can catch up, or is there anything I can do to help? But when it is you, you think that, why is it with that? When it is you, you think that you have failed. When it is someone else, you give them that grace. So we have to practice that self-compassion. So the key is to treat yourself with the same kindness that you would show to another person. This means try to avoid self-critical words. Don't be too critical about yourself. Instead, be compassionate. You are acknowledging that you made a mistake, but you are compassionate with yourself because you want to do better in the future. I am happy to serve. Let's see who is in the chat. There are so many people in the chat that I miss. That's why I put your names on the screen. And so welcome everybody. I am so delighted to have you. You could be anywhere else, but you decided to come here, and I am not taking it for granted. I thank you all for your love, your support, your kindness, your compassion. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marlene, for the reminders. I have amazing moderators. Thank you so much. So we are looking at the steps, practical steps to help us to practice that self-love and self-forgiveness. If you notice, most of the time we are talking about self-love and self-forgiveness. It is about the self. It is always about us, because once you have made yourself, like if you have made yourself, thank you, boss. If you have made yourself lovable, that is how you will attract that love. And when you are a lovely person, you give out love, and it makes it very like pleasant for people to be around you. You are good company. So that's why we are talking about building your self-love, because you want to build, and then you give from your overflow. You are not giving the little that you have overflowing love, and that's how it's easy for you to give out. And that's why it is so important for you to cultivate the self-love. And that is where it starts: forgiving yourself, treating yourself with compassion, giving yourself that same love that you will give to a friend or to a colleague. And we get to the third action step: learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. We have said today that at the beginning we said everyone makes mistakes. The difference is the way the mistakes impact everyone. For some people, when they make one mistake, it's like, oh, I'm finished. I'm finished. I'm completely finished. There's no way I can deal with this again. Meanwhile, for others, when you understand the principle that you are not perfect and that you are a work in progress, you are learning from your mistakes, because every time you are challenged, you learn. Anytime you carry out a project, you either win or you learn. There's no failure. So you either win or you learn. And the best thing about learning from your mistakes is that you use your mistakes as opportunities for growth and building back better. So if I failed at something, or well, reflect on what led to the mistake and what you can do differently in the future, and how you can make amends if necessary. So when you are asking yourself and reflecting in this way, you identify what you have learned from the situation that has made you to feel guilty. So you have to identify the lesson. And when you identify this lesson, it's now easier for you to solve it, because, like they say, a problem identified is half solved. Like, it's when you go to the doctor and tell them exactly where you are hurting, that the doctor will know the exact prescription to give you. So you identify, what did I do that caused me to make this mistake, or that caused me to hurt this person, or what did the person do that hurt me? Why am I hurting? So identify. When you identify them, now it's easy for you to learn how you could have done it differently, or how you could have reacted differently. You are not going to change somebody. That's impossible. Or it's only you can change you. It's not within your sphere of control to change the people that hurt you, but it is within your control to liberate yourself from them, to learn that, okay, if this person is like this, I've learned my lesson. If I'm going to do business with them, I'm not going to put in all my money, for example. Or if I'm going to go somewhere with them, I'm not going to put in my all and all. I'm going to like wait until I see that it's a win-win. You are now more open, and you have a better opportunity to make informed choices because you have looked for the lesson. You are not just sitting there and blaming yourself and not knowing what to do. You are finding, what could I have done differently? How can I improve next time? So if it's a clear mistake, you are finding a way of, how can I prevent it? Or how can I behave so that next time I don't find myself in this kind of situation where somebody will hurt me, or where somebody would like really make me feel like I am not worth anything. So it is your job to find a lesson every time you are challenged, so that it will help you to build back better. Because why? We are human beings, and every day we are prone to make mistakes. Sometimes you think that this is the best, you are taking a decision at a certain point and you think this is the best decision for the moment, and then later you find out that, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have done it this way. I should have instead done it the other way, or I shouldn't have said this thing. Maybe this thing really hurt somebody's feelings. I should have really like washed my mouth. And so that helps you next time you measure your words before talking. And we are always learning. Every day, every new day is a new lesson. As you get up every morning, you don't know what the day will look like. Even if you have all your planner with all the to-do list and all of that, like we always say, what is life? What happens when you are busy making plans? So you make a plan for a straight day from 6 to 7. I'm going to have breakfast. From 7 to 8, I'm going to start doing my YouTube checks and rounds. From 8 to 9, from 10 to 11, you have all that plan, and then boom, you are called for an emergency, or something happens that you have to, like they say, it's an emergency. You have to disrupt all the plans that you had laid out to attend to that thing. So that's how life is, and we are always ready. We should always stay ready to face them, because you have to learn how to navigate all those emergencies. They will always come, and then we have to find ways to deal with them. And so learning from your mistakes is so necessary, because it helps you not to commit the same mistake several times. Even if you were to commit the same mistake several times, what did the Bible say when, boss, I'm not in a real I'm an entry level Christian, but I know that in the Bible they say you forgive 70 times 77, or 7 times 77. I don't know, but it means you have to forgive endlessly. So if you are forgiving endlessly, why not start forgiving yourself endlessly? Because each time you have the need to forgive yourself, liberate yourself, let go, just let go, and keep the flow. Don't hold yourself back in the past because you are being guilty of something that you did, which you no longer have control over and which you cannot change. I know that it's easier said than done, but what is life? We are just finding ways to mitigate the consequences, or the stress, or the pressure, or we are just finding ways to cope. We are finding coping mechanisms to cope with our challenges. So we have to keep learning and keep growing. And the fourth action step that I want to share with you this evening is release resentment and move forward. Because holding on to resentment towards yourself only hinders your progress. Let go of negative self-talk and feelings of guilt and shame. I know this for sure, because most often it has happened to me. I really like, oh my goodness, how could I be so, how could I do this? How could I? I should have, I would have, I should have, and all of that. You hold yourself, you hold that resentment, and you like you hate yourself for it. Let me even use that word. That's a word that I don't like using because it's a very powerful word, but I can use it now because sometimes, because you feel guilty about something, or somebody did something to you, it develops, you are so resentful that it develops to hatred. And I can still remind you, those are very heavy emotions for you to carry around. They are really energy draining. It's not worth the trouble. So for instance, also, if you made a poor financial decision, forgive yourself. Create a plan to improve your financial habits and take steps towards a more secure financial future. Sometimes if you buy something and you get home and you say, but why did I really buy this stuff? And here, at least, sometimes you can go back and give it back, or you can invest in some venture. You thought that it was a really good investment, and then you lose, and you really think that you should kill yourself because you lost money. It's just money. Money is good, but it's a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. It's, if you don't, you can't kill yourself because you lost money in an investment. You tell yourself, okay, I lost this time, I'm going to find a better way to do it. It's really painful, but we have to move on. And by following these action steps and examples, you can cultivate self forgiveness and pave the way for personal growth and emotional well being, which is what we are looking for. Because most often we find it very difficult to forgive ourselves. We are worried about making the same mistakes again, or we are worried about facing our actions. We don't know how to face our actions, or that this might determine the way people will look at us. We are afraid of our self image. All of those, they don't matter. What matters is what you think about yourself. And remember that self forgiveness is a process that takes time and practice. So be patient and kind to yourself. You could also talk to someone and find help. I'm so really grateful. I really like, I'm talking, talk. Team Be with Joe is like, for us, our therapy, where we have all the, we can bring out every emotion that we had, every stress that we carried all through the week. Fridays at 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. EST, Team Be with Joe. The best $99 that you can spend on the YT streets, to have a team of phenomenal family members, friends who are building each other up and supporting each other. You see, there's so much in team build. You need to be a member to really know what I'm talking about. And our next, before the time gets off, our next speaker is Emma. I have her link pinned in the chat. Hey, Queen, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. I have a link pinned in the chat. So I am thankful to everybody who has been here, or those who are going to watch the replay. Thank you so much for being. Oh my God, I have some VIPs coming in. Thank you so much. Hey, Destiny, you are welcome. Thank you so much. Passionately intrigued. I want to thank all my sisters in this journey. Thank you so much, everybody. We are going to Emma's. Thank you so much, boss. We are going to design with Emma. We have a group of phenomenal team members at Team Build with Joe. So our next is design with Emma. Please, let's continue supporting each other. And do not forget, every time you feel that you are not worthy to be forgiven, know that you are the best and you are worthy of every good thing that can happen to you. And of course, you are not a failure. because you failed at certain things, at certain points. You are a work in progress. There is always room for improvement. So as we go around, self forgiveness, love yourself, because you have to serve from your overflow. And when you are serving from your overflow, make sure that you are serving love and kindness. Thank you so much. It is always an honor. I'll see you at Emma's house, and have a beautiful rest of the day. Hey, Black Guns, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. We are ending the stream. This is a collaboration that we have every Wednesday, and we have 30 minutes each. So our next our next family member is Designed with Emma. I have her link pinned. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful evening.